What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Cylon Johns and Jill's Network. Today is just the Johns, our usual teaser and breakdown. We'll be doing Season 2, Episode 5, The Farm today, and we'll be teasing you for Friday's upcoming event, Season 2, Episode 6, Home, Part 1. Without further ado, I'll introduce my amazing co-host and friend, John St. Baptiste. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing well, thank you. Happy to be here. Happy to be talking about this episode. I keep saying this over and over again, but it's one of my favorites. And it just tells you how great the show is. But yeah, this episode's, as I said in our teaser on Twitter last week, get your swimsuits and practice your breathing exercises, because this is when we start going into the deep end.
It really does. I started doing my male Kegels earlier just to get ready for it. There is a lot here. This shows you how complex the Cylon's plan is and that they're not playing around. This is a massive undertaking that they have been planning for a long, long time. And if you haven't figured that out already, this drives home what they're doing. This really lets you know how, I want to say primal, but that's not the right word, how gritty and dark it is. It's not happy time fantasy land. This is some real shit going on.
Dystopian, yeah. I would almost say.
Really, I mean, it really is. But with this, you don't feel separated from it, right? You feel invested in this. You feel like you're a part of it. And I think that's definitely one of their goals. And they accomplish that 99% of the time. Let's see. I know one of the first things you want to talk about was, we can kind of talk a little bit about this relationship here that Anders,
Johnny.
I know, right? That Anders has with Kara, and seemingly they fell in love kind of fast. We don't have much backstory here yet, and it's left slightly mysterious. I know some people, me the first time watching, made me wonder how they fell in love so fast, right?
Agreed. The one thing I think, though, is there's when people are under situations of extreme duress, for some people that's an outlet. I mean, we've seen Ty's outlet. But on the same note, Kara seems very much like since things ended with Zach, he's like frack him and leave him type of person. Whereas as the episode goes on, and especially at the end, we see emotional investment, and it does seem to progress relatively rapidly. But on the same note, sometimes people just have that kind of chemistry.
Yeah, very true. Sometimes it just happens. You fall head over heels for someone. This is a good example of this, unless everyone thinks they're Cylons, which is possible. I'll never tell you until you watch the whole thing with us. We'll kind of stay on Kara and that. We'll see how damaged she is. And, she's getting her eggs taken by Simon. And I know you wanted to talk about Simon, how they didn't really string us along on whether or not he was a Cylon. And let me pull up his gorgeous self. There he is. And, they didn't play us for fools too much. And I know you wanted to touch on that.
He does have some of the prettiest eyes that I've ever seen.
He really does.
He really does. But if you look into some of the back notes and things that the writers and directors were looking at, they gave the audience enough credit that they would at least think this person might be a Cylon. So they kept it ambiguous instead of keeping it instead of making it a situation where, oh, you trust this brand new person who came along, and at the end there's this big reveal. I really like that they give their audience that much credit, and if their audience is intelligent enough to follow a complex show like this. That I really liked that.
Yeah, it also sucks you in a little bit too because she immediately thinks he's a Cylon, which you normally would in a situation of this manner. And he says, even if I was, I wouldn't tell you. So there's probably no point in asking. And it draws you into this lull where he's just kind of human. Just for a second there, you think maybe this is a real doctor. You get brought back, but you have that moment of, just maybe. But no,
Well,
he goes,
and he explains why it's so quiet. He's like, radiation sick. The thing about Simon, at least thus far, that we've realized about his character, he never lies. Not once in this episode does he tell a direct lie.
nope, that's very true. I forgot about that. Good point. I don't, there are many copies, so maybe Simon will pop up somewhere unexpected at some point, huh?
Well, what does Adam say? Do you love her? You're gonna see her again.
Yeah, Adama the Prophet at this point, he might as well just shack up with Lauren and take the religious route, right? But going back to that with the eggs, they're doing this reproduction. You know, did Kara really have a sister? As we saw them whispering about later, you know, did he take some of her ovaries as a test? Right? I feel like this is a definite possibility, but what would they do with that? Maybe I'll let you kind of throw out some stuff if you want.
Well, Sharon states that they're doing reproductive research, and they haven't had any success doing it this way that it is on this farm, that they call it, which is the dehumanization of that term is so spine chilling. But Sharon even says that they're trying to do that, and that's why why Sharon's there is because they think that maybe the missing element is love, which we'll get to at the end of the episode. But
Yeah.
I think the Cylons want to reproduce for some reason, and they can't reproduce between Cylons. All they can do is, at least from what we've been told, is make more of the same models.
Yeah, and there are only 12, but infinite numbers possibly of them, or finite. Um, Maybe you'll find out. We get a glimpse of this in, uh, what is it, the base star that Boomer visits and sees all of her replicas, basically.
Yeah, we love you, Sharon.
We love you. We'll see you again. Uh, and they do. I don't know. It's just freaky. The more you think about it, like it blows my mind. Even though I've already seen the show. Like still trying to wrap your head around the scope of what's going on here and how the people are having to deal with it. There are appropriate responses in the fleet and on Caprica with the humans that have to deal with this, or supposed humans, right?
Right. Well, back to what you were saying though, like you've watched it before. This is my 8th watch through, and there's some episodes I've watched like significantly more times. Our viewers are going to have to wait about a year, but the series finale I've probably watched at least 30 times. But yeah, and I find something new every time. That's why I do this, and that's why I'm so excited about our channel here. I might be a very repetitive person. I mean, I've read the Lord of the Rings every year since I was 14, once a year, and I'm in my 40s, so.
You got to keep that imagination strong. That's how you keep a sane and rational mind. That's
I
something
love
that
this
people
shot.
have
Sorry.
lost in this world. Oh yeah, I'm setting this up for us to talk about it. People lose that in this world, the ability to, as a kid, you lose a lot of your imagination. And it's important to try to gain it back, live through another world. Don't let it interfere with your personal life or, but it can shape and mold who you are. You can learn a lot of things through these stories. And it's not just for fun. People are, I would say, more connected than ever, but disconnected at the same time.
Oh, absolutely agree.
Themselves.
And I think that show kind of actually, the show actually kind of talks about that. You know, um, it,
Mhm.
where's our technology taking us? I mean, on the one, the show is just on so many levels, and I could go on about this forever. And we try and keep these episodes short, so I won't. But I would at the end of the series like to do an episode just about all the different levels that the show touches on. Maybe we could do a little special or something.
Oh yeah, we can definitely put something together of that nature. Maybe even a couple of parter special. There's a lot to talk about here, and I'd be glad to cover it. No doubt. Uh,
Sorry to
Very
drop that bomb
interested.
on you.
No, it's okay. Very interested in hearing what you have to say. I mean, you always give some intriguing thoughts and very good with the knowledge. So um, let's see. I know you wanted to talk about this scene. Kara calling to the gods.
Yeah, I this really struck me because you can look at it from so many different points of view. He says, Lords of Cobalt, please help me. And then she looks in this broken mirror that we've seen the entire episode. By the way, there's a whole lot of mirror imagery in this entire series. If you go back and watch, it's insane. I could go on for hours about it. But so she sees she says her prayer, and then she sees the broken mirror, and that's what she uses later to kill Simon and escape. Question is, it's been there the entire time. So was there the divine intervention of making her realize she could defend herself this way? Or was it just she sees the mirror and she's like, oh, okay, hey, Starbucks are pretty, oh, I love that shot too. He's a pretty resourceful individual. So it just, I like, once again, going back to the ambiguity, how it really makes you question how much, if there is divine intervention of some form, how much is there? And is there also this divine intervention from the Lords of Cobalt as well as the singular god of the Cylon? I mean, this stuff can send you off in mental whirlpools for hours. But
Yeah, there are seemingly too many coincidences. And like you said, you can go off forever just like Simon. You can't kill me, even as he's getting stabbed in the aorta. It's,
yeah,
aorta, jugular. He's getting it all taken out at this point, and he's not afraid. This is something that's eerie to me, especially the first time I watched it. It's no fear of death. He knows instantly that he's going to come back. So, what kind of plan do they have? What kind of backup do they have to ensure that all these copies will keep returning? Uh, Given almost any scenario, they seem to have no fear of this, except the most human of models so far in Boomer. Right? The ladies have touched on this. She seems to be a little more human. Oh, that's a good segue. I know you wanted to talk about why did Sharon come back, and maybe you can throw out some stuff without getting spoilery.
yeah. Well, you question when she returns with the heavy raider. Well, first she meets up with the resistance and convinces them to trust her, and then she comes back with the heavy raider and um basically like wastes all the Centurions and lets Starbuck get away and all this. the question is, obviously she has a motive of her own. I mean, but is she human enough that? Well, I guess the real question is she human enough, and is she humane enough? Is she human enough that protecting that baby, at realizing that working together with a group of people, things like this are before, or is she humane enough that she's like, yeah, Starbuck, like, I do have memories of this person. This is somebody who I want to help. This is somebody who I want to save. Like, how calculated is her assistance of the resistance? I think that's a question that you ask yourself when you're watching this.
Yeah, does she love, does she do it just, is this to further the goal of the Cylons altogether? Or has she changed once experiencing love?
Right.
Um, and that's a big deal. We're going to touch on that at the end. um, we'll come back to Sharon and Kara in love, not in love, and love, the subject of love.
No, keep your
But
fantasies to yourself, Johnny.
well, that would be. Whew. Anyways, I'll keep my mouth shut on that one. We'll go to Lee's decision in the meat locker and Rosalind's decision, and Tom Zarek making the power plays here. What are the implications going on at this moment? Maybe describe a little bit that's obvious and give a few teasers. I don't know, work around that a little bit. I think it's ooh, set up for some good stuff to come, if you like politics and you like every damn thing, if you just like the show, right?
Well, there's a deleted scene that I really wish had stayed in this episode, where there Lee's supposed to be recording this tape to denounce Adama, and then he stops it, and then there's a deleted scene where he says, hey, I backed you up, and I did it for nothing. He says this to Rosalind, and no, I mean, it gives a bit more of his thought process into why he can't record this. But I think when it really comes down to it, even though I liked the scene so much, I think leaving it out was important, because the prime crux here is that he is not going to denounce his father. He's doing what he thinks is right for democracy and for standing up for democracy. And that's why he's doing what he's doing, by helping Rosalind escape and so on and so forth. And I think that's the really important thing here. But I think that deleted scene kind of gives you a little more thought into Lee Adama's mental process.
Yeah. Also, he was sprung with the fact that his father just woke up as well, and it makes you wonder whether or not he would have went through with it if Adama was still in a coma. Wouldn't it be even harder to go through with it at that point? I think it would be, right?
I would hope so. Otherwise, I've lost a lot of respect for Lee Adama.
No, right? But that's something I do love about him and his character. He's not just a shining white knight. He makes mistakes, and you can see the complexity of it here. And what you said about Rosalind, to that point, she doesn't waste any time. She jumps right on there to just do what she's got to do. There's no real even waiting for the moment. She just immediately jumps in there, and I don't know. She's just taking the religious route. We get this whole religious crap thing we got from Adama, and this has implications for her too. She has these fervent followers, these worshipers that think she's a prophet, and she may very well be, but does this ever work out for anyone, John?
Oh, that scene We were talking about chills up your spine. Yes, this scene right here. Like when I watched that the first time, I was just like, "Oh my gosh!" Like it was just like, "Whoa." Um, and I think there are going to be implications, a whole lot of them, for the rest of the series because of this. And I love how Mary McDonnell plays it. Like she's this reluctant messiah. I think I got to talk about somebody's acting chops every episode that we do. Mary McDonnell just fucking kills it in this one.
She really does, and she slowly, like a normal, sane person would, she just slowly warms up to this, once seeing evidence that this is really happening, that this is true. But now she's taking it to another level because she knows she has to. She hasn't seen anything to prove otherwise, but she has no hope in what has happened, and she must make a change. So she made a huge decision here, massive implications. As you know, teaser, teaser, teaser. Uh, it doesn't get creepier than the guy bald with a mullet and his fingers on his forehead, but he looks like he's trying to teleport or something. If you watch Dragon Ball Z, you can do that instant transmission.
I got the reference.
um, but
Fortunately, previously on Battlestar Galactica isn't as long as the lead up in Dragon Ball Z.
No, just and then the end, and Super Saiyan 2, 3 episodes in. If you can watch them concurrent, they're fantastic. But if you have to watch them in 30-minute segments, it really sucks. Yeah, just keep an eye on what's going to happen with Rosalind. Pay attention to any prophets in the past. Religious fervor usually doesn't turn out well, and there are many outcomes that can happen. She is dying. What will she die from? In the prophecies, it says a disease, right, John? If I'm not mistaken. But no, it just says
I think it just says a dying leader.
Okay.
That implies disease. It doesn't say dead leader. It's dying.
Yeah, so you're supposed to assume she's going to die from her disease, but there's many other things that could happen here.
What always makes me think of a quote, and I can't remember the exact wording, so I'm going to paraphrase it. In Dune, Frank Herbert says that when politics and religion ride in the same cart, disasters at the edge of the cliff face. And that was my first thought the first time I watched this.
Yeah, it's definitely a short-term solution, but Rosalind knows she's short-term anyway, so I think that's why she's willing to make that gamble, especially in this moment, knowing, she doesn't really have an out with Adama. She had nothing to do. She was locked up. She escaped. She can't just stay in the fleet, so she took mainly the only option, besides trying to resist within the fleet. I mean, there were other options, but I don't know. Adama is not happy with this, and it begs to question what he really believes and how he's feeling now, especially after his near-death experience. And
closer to the ground, that's what he says.
Yeah, and it goes back. It goes back to love, right? With Boomer, and then Sharon and Hilo and Kara, everything going back to love and the farm. So everything.
We're talking about the fleet. Sorry to interrupt you, Johnny, but I just this thought hit me. What do you think of the fact that third of the fleet jumps away with her?
Yeah, almost a third of the fleet. Is it 24 ships?
I want to say. I want to say
something like that. Adama didn't think they would believe her, but I think he's trying to lie to himself in this moment as well. Because if you step back and think about it, everybody is desperate. These are the last people left alive. And he's as clear-headed as he can be from waking up in a coma, but Uh, I don't think there was anything he could do. He had to stay strong in that moment. If he showed any weaknesses, more people would have followed. So, was it surprising? A little bit. Uh, but I think he expected it. He just couldn't show it. He had to keep that armor up like a good commander. I mean, he's badass.
Well, I
That's
think it's
what.
also really telling that at the beginning of the series, like in the miniseries, Dama was all about, hey, the fleet will be safe. They can stay here at Ragnar Station, and we're going to go out and fight the Cylons. And now he is all about keeping the fleet together, you know. And it really hurts him because the battle star is the one thing that's protecting them, and he's the one who's like, oh my gosh, the fleet's falling apart.
Well, and it's beautiful too. It shows you that in a normal situation, real people, they have to change their goals. They change with their surroundings and events. You have this set outcome for Adama, and in many shows, that'll be his main goal the whole damn show. No, you have to evolve, just like in real life on this show. Oh, I just love it. It's beautiful. I could go forever, but yeah,
Yeah, we should go on to your next point, or we will gush forever.
love this right here. Got
You're on mute.
accidentally muted. This right here got me. It got me so good. Adama and six, showing how much compassion he had, showing the struggle he's having with loving a Cylon. He can't shake it. How can you love a machine? And the way he's talking to Tyrell as well, Tyrell's taking it as chastisement of him. Like, I don't know, I couldn't love a machine. I didn't. I don't know. But Adama is more projecting in this moment, and it's played out beautifully, especially when he visits her body, which has been through autopsy. I don't think anyone has pointed out that. So, what have they found through autopsy? Maybe we will find out soon. Um, Also, yeah, what are your thoughts on love? I'll let you take it over for a second. I'm
Oh yeah,
blabbing.
I definitely think when he was, it goes back to the whole thing we were talking about in another episode that we did, where the Cylons are kind of like starting to define the human condition, and you know, it, this whole thing about love, but even more so, like the human condition, like he's talking to Tyrell, and Tyrell thinks he's chastising him. And as you said, he's projecting on him. He's like, "How do you love a machine?" It's it's human nature to poorly use pronouns, because the question I think should have been, "How does one love a machine?" But it humanizes everything, and yeah, I totally agree.
It's beautiful, and you are a wordsmith, sir. You know, I hack grammar up all the time. Don't worry, I defer to you in all of those. Uh, you have Kara here having the hardest time dealing with Boomer, dealing with this love thing. She just got out of a baby farm, man, and still this concept of love is brought up. Why is Boomer here? Um, Boomer reveals at this moment, she reveals that it's love. They think, uh, they're testing to see if love causes creation because every attempt has failed. They still have all these thousands of baby farms and nothing yet, right?
Yeah.
I'll let you take it.
Oh no, it I mean, yeah, I think you've summed it up perfectly. It the big question here, as we've brought up, is how calculated is Sharon's decision to help the resistance. Um, does she love Boomer? If she does love Boomer, is it just part of the plan, or is it an actual feeling and emotion that she has? Or I'm not. She love Hilo. Sorry, not Boomer. My apologies. Many call signs. Um, this here, and Hilo really. I mean, you can tell he at least his love is real, right?
I think it is, and he can't seem to deny it at this point. Kara does not understand it, and begs the question, will she face something like that in the future? We know she tends to go through love interest, and we find out a little of her backstory about her traumatic childhood, which we touched on in Friday's stream. I don't think it's nothing we need to ramble about. It's very heartbreaking. Um, this was a slightly controversial episode when it came out, uh, mainly because it touched on some real sensitive topics that people could get upset by. And that still it brings you back to love and what love means to everything, every being in this universe, and whether it means something different to each individual Cylon, whether it means something, different between Cylons and humans, or whether it's something that connects all things in the universe, possibly. Go with you with some real hippie shit. Um, it there's just so many routes, and it shows the power of love, the devastation of love, the pain of love. Love is just not butterflies and rainbow kisses. Love stings. Gotta leave John to the music references though.
Oh, Nazareth loves hurts. Yeah. Nice.
Um, do you, what would you like to sum up in this episode and also possibly give a teaser? And did we give rankings on Friday? Maybe we'll give them today.
We did give rankings. On everybody's or just yours and mine?
We can do, well, you can say everybody's, that way people are caught up.
Kenzie gave it 9 baby farms. Bobby gave it 9 missing embryos. Carissa gave it 9 Take One Dougs, which is a reference to another television show that the actor who plays Anders is in. And he gave it 9.5 ovary thieves. You give it 9.5 straight jackets.
Okay.
And I gave it 9.5 chili and a meat lockers.
Oh, that is perfect. We got a very, very good episode 2-parter coming up next. Um, lots of stuff happens per usual with BSG, but we have some interesting developments that hit home again. There isn't, home part 1. Look at that. I'm segueing by accident. John, what's your teaser for the Jills and all our fans out there so we can get ready for Friday?
Well, I always try and go with the song lyric. And for this week, my teaser is going to be, if you want it, here I am. Come and get it.
That's a pretty good teaser. Mine is a song too. It's a little less popular. And I'm not gonna sing the whole thing of it, but it's funny. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, and that's about it. Um, yeah, that's a good enough teaser. If I say anything else about it, it'll spoil it for you. So get to watching that episode. Make sure to join us Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on the Cylon Johns Network, and we will have Clarissa Thompson, Mackenzie L. Burns, Amy True, and Bobby Catalano. Make sure you check out Bobby's stuff. Handmade by Bobby on Facebook. She makes awesome things. My little Maester's kit here. My leather hand-bound book. She makes all kinds of crafts by hand with love. Not any kind of big thing. She'll make it personally for you, and she just loves doing it, and I can't thank her enough. Thank you so much, Bobby. John, would you like to say anything going out? Good, sir.
I think we should just end this the way we always do, with his most important words.
So say we all.